What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Fuego here.
And we're back to do another advanced review for you guys. We have a lot this week, actually.
Lucky ducks. It comes at night
on Monday, and here we are. We just saw The Mummy 2017, starring Tom Cruise. And
Sylvia Patella.
Yes, exactly.
As the mummy herself.
Yeah, now this movie we'll do like usual. You guys will give our overall thoughts. We'll talk about acting, or story acting, effects, all that good stuff. And there's, I think, a lot to talk about this time. So, well, maybe not for you. We'll find out. Okay, so as far as our overall thoughts, it's pretty much what I expected it to be.
Yeah, same here, actually.
That's pretty much it. I didn't figure it was going to be super deep or really cool like Edge of Tomorrow was. I really like that, and I do enjoy Tom Cruise movies, so I did enjoy him in it, but overall it just wasn't super special. There was some aspects that they borrowed from the Brendan Fraser one, and then there were other new aspects that they introduced, which I actually thought were cool, like Mercury and things like that. Yeah, but we'll get into that stuff. So overall, it's what I thought I was gonna get. So it was no more, no less. I guess if I had to give it a grade, I would give it a middle of the road B to B minus. So yeah, that's as close as I can get when I say it's what I expected. So Fuego, your thoughts?
This was the epitome of mediocrity to me. I didn't hate this movie, but I really, at the end of the day, was just kind of indifferent to it. Like, there weren't any supremely memorable scenes, with the exception of the new mythology that they brought in for this new mummy. I thought that was pretty rad, but performances were just okay. I didn't really buy the chemistry between Tom Cruise and the British woman. It just...
So it felt forced.
Yeah, it just didn't really work for me. And although I will say that they did lay the groundwork for what I think could be a cool series of films in this new universe. So
that I definitely agree with. So the story is Tom Cruise and Jake Johnson from The New Girl. Actually,
he's also in Safety Not Guaranteed and hilarious.
Yeah, he was great in that too. He plays Tom Cruise's sidekick essentially. When they start off, they're thieves, essentially. They're treasure hunters, plunderers, Indiana Joneses, if you will.
I was getting that vibe too.
Yeah, and so they are but they're about 1,000 miles away from Egypt in the Middle East, and they're basically, Tom Cruise says, we got to go to that occupied village down there because what we're looking for down there, or what we're looking for is down there. And so they go and they get embroiled, and they barely get out of this little scrape.
Shot at and everything.
Yeah, and
we're gonna die. You're gonna be killed.
In the process, they uncover the tomb of this lost mummy.
Yep.
And the one that's only some people theorize that even exists.
Yeah, because she was like written out of the history books essentially, and all the Egyptian history. So
right. So they go and they discover this, and then the British chick shows up that is apparently someone that Tom Cruise had a little tryst with in order to steal her map to locate this place. Yeah, exactly. And so she shows up all angry and scorned, and basically tells him what this might be, and brings in some experts, and they uncover it. Well, they find not just the tomb, but really the prison where this mummy is being kept. Tom Cruise stupidly sort of sets her free, or sets the sarcophagus free, and they take the sarcophagus, and then pretty much what we saw in the trailer. The plane happens, and then everything, the mummy's freed, and that's it. And it's all about them having to try and stop the mummy and stop her plan, which actually involves Tom Cruise quite heavily. So
they have a link, the two of them.
There's actually more story to this than I thought there would be, quite frankly.
Yeah, there was a little bit deeper, at least in that. But once again, it just felt not as inspired storytelling to me, with the exception of bits here and there. As a whole, I was losing interest throughout. It was like ebb and flow of, oh, that was cool, but then more boring, just kind of stuff's made up the majority.
What always piqued my interest though was whenever Dr. Jekyll showed up.
Russell Crowe.
I loved Russell Crowe in this. I thought he did a great rendition of the character.
He's gonna be cool.
And I don't want to spoil too much, but it was really fun to watch him, and again, it was really cool to set up this sort of shared universe, like you said. That was the last thing I wanted to mention about the story. At the end of the movie, this felt more like a part one of a series rather than sort of an offshoot, you know, like instead of being Iron Man, this was Avengers 1, so to speak, in my opinion. Not in the grand scale of it, but in so much as there's more than just the one character from the Mummy.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's obviously a setup to sort of the next thing, but there were some cool Easter eggs that I want to talk about towards the end. So don't let me forget to that.
No,
to get to that. So, your overall thoughts on the story?
Story, once again, okay. I mean, good groundwork for what is to come, and that, without spoiling anything, they did leave things wide open for just expansion and more cool things, and all the stuff with Russell Crowe and finding the organization that he's behind was intriguing. So once again, though, the story just it kept having trouble maintaining my interest. So
yeah, and it's weird. There was one time in particular actually where we just came out of an action scene and we went to something else, a different scene that was to be more set up. And I was immediately, like almost immediately when we got to the scene, I'm like, ooh, this scene feels like it's long. Because I wanted to get back to the other stuff. So, you know, there was that aspect to it. But let's jump into the acting. And again, I mentioned I loved Russell Crowe. I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise, and he is very Tom Cruise in this. He's not quite as smooth or charismatic, I think, as he has been in past movies.
Yeah, and the humor from him felt a little forced for me.
Really flat.
I was
really
not
flat.
laughing. I mean, there was
Jake Johnson was the only guy making me laugh, and that was only kind of a little bit.
Yeah, I think there were more genuine laughs in the Mummy movie with Fraser.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That hit the tone a little better in my opinion. But acting, I gotta. Once again, Sofia Boutella, she was one of the best parts about Star Trek, the most recent one that they had, Star Trek Beyond. Yeah, she was awesome in that. She's in this new Charlize Theron movie where Atomic Blonde. So she's in that too. So she is a rising star. She talks in English eventually, which I kind of scratched my head about a little bit, but she emoted very well, and I mean, just her expressions and body language and stuff. I mean, you kind of felt for her, and yet still, you know, I don't know. It was a complex character. It was the most interesting performance in the movie for me. And
her being female didn't bother me at all. I thought it was more fun to look at, frankly, than Imhotep.
She's pretty.
So yeah, I didn't mind that at all. But yeah, I agree with you. I liked her. I thought the British blonde was a little underwhelming.
Yeah, she was boring to me.
I was looking at her like, oh wow, what acting? You know, she walked into a room. I don't know what she was in before, if she was in anything, but. It's not that she was bad, it's that she just was she was distracting to me because I just didn't like her that much.
Yeah, she was very one note, man, and just didn't captivate me like the other woman who really stole the screen in this. So.
Now the music is, you know, it's typical big budget action music, so there's not much to say there, but the thing that we have to talk about are the effects, of course.
Yeah, the effects were good. If we're talking about that though, I just have to really say that I thought the movie was really poorly lit. A lot of the time it was dark and grainy, and especially in the 3D with the glasses and stuff, like I couldn't really see what was happening a few times.
You know what, that didn't actually bother me that much. I tried to pay attention because we didn't even know this was going to be 3D until we showed up, and I actually thought the 3D looked really good, even I thought even when there wasn't action or anything, it might have looked better when there was just people talking, because it was depth 3D. It was the kind of 3D that I remember from Avatar, where the actual sets look deep. Instead of just things coming at you, there's not a lot of things coming right at you. Rather, it's as though you're in the world and the set's deep, and you can tell that this person's here and this person talking is here in the over-the-shoulder shots. So I actually really dug that aspect of it.
It looked good for the desert scenes, in my opinion.
And I paid attention because I was like, well, this is a movie about people. It's a Tomb Raider movie, essentially. They're in the dark looking for stuff, so I knew the brightness was going to be a factor, but I actually didn't find any issues with it. Outside of, there's one time where it's black muck mummies in black overshadowed areas, so that's a little bit tough.
Trying to see them, but the mummies.
But that was the point, I think. I think they were trying to give you that, like, you don't know where the movement's actually going to come from.
Yeah, and to actually jump on the mummy train real quick, I thought that there were some really cool bits.
The mummy train.
There were some cool bits with how they actually defeated some of these mummified people that she was making, like punching through heads and stuff.
Because they're made of dust and stuff, essentially, a reassembled dust. So yeah, you can punch through people. You could get pretty fun with the violence violence without being gory with it.
Yes,
so
keep that PG-13.
Now, I did, so the effects though, overall, I thought there's a lot of sandstorm stuff. There was a lot, there was a lot of effects, but
spiders
there was nothing that was really distracting. The effects that I thought were really good are when Tom Cruise tried to fight the mummy. And that was really awesome because he'd literally run at her and she'd just smack him aside, and it would look really like a really hard hit, like he would go barreling into a cement block or something, and like or just get slammed down onto the concrete steps, and I thought that looked really good, those shots.
Agreed. It did.
So it added a super amount of weight and impact to those actual hits.
I agree. No.
Outside of that, I did think they overblew the dust storm bits and the glass shattering as they're running. That was a little too much.
Which I was surprised that they did as many callbacks to the Brendan Fraser mummy.
There was quite a few.
As they did, you know. They were like making this with those in their mindsets, I think. So.
And I kind of like that the scarab, I think that scarab ring was meant to be a callback too, that Tom Cruise almost grabs at the beginning. But anyway. So
also the soul-sucking bits I thought looked pretty rad.
Yeah.
The de-aging mummification
That's
bits.
nothing that we haven't seen before though, unfortunately.
True.
But it did look good.
Yeah,
it did look good. Now, the last thing I want to mention, guys.
Easter eggs.
The Easter eggs, And it's the fact that this definitely set the stage for the new Monsterverse. The Dark Universe, right? Isn't that what they called it?
Well, for now at least. They've got this lawsuit going on with the people who were trying to do Justice League Dark, and so, Warner Brothers and Universal are...
But anyway, I really am excited to see what comes next. I would love to see a Jekyll and Hyde movie. I would love to see a Dracula movie. I can't wait to see a creature movie because at one point
they got both of our attention.
They did for sure. They take when we're introduced to Russell Crowe's company or whatever it is that he represents. Organization's probably better. They go in and they almost walk into a Raiders of the Lost Ark end room type room where there's things everywhere, and when you get close-up shots, one of the things is a glass jar that's got the arm and hand of a creature from the Black Lagoon. Cool. There's another one that's a glass jar of a human skull, except it's got the fangies here. And then at one point you see another skull in a line of skulls that's got this ring right here and a couple of little staples right here, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So what that makes me wonder though is, does that mean that Frankenstein has to be a prequel? Does that mean that the first Dracula has to be a prequel?
Possibly.
Like the creature has to be a prequel? Like, I don't know how that's going to work because we saw parts of all of them in here, or are they all just going to be members of the race of these things that have existed for a while?
Yeah, and they've announced the rest of the cast that's going to be in this Dark Universe movie, with the exception of who's playing Bride of Frankenstein, which is the next film that they're working on after this. They did announce that Javier Bardem is playing the Frankenstein monster, which is pretty cool.
Perfect.
Johnny Depp is going to be the Invisible Man, and so on. So I mean, they've got their pieces in place to make this cool, and I'll give all of them a chance because I love creature movies and I love the classic Universal monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. So there you go, guys. I mean, overall, try and base your determination whether you want to see it on that. I know it's a little bit tough. It's kind of middle of the road, but if you like big budget Tom Cruise stuff, give it a try. If you think it sounds trite and not up your alley, don't give it a try. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. We're not mincing any words here. We're not hiding anything, and we're not shilling for it either. I enjoyed it because it was brainless, and it was just okay. I wouldn't rush out to see it again. I don't know that I think you should see it, but I don't know that you need to pay to see it in the theater.
Agreed there. Yeah. Hey, the price was right for us.
And it did look good in the big budget action on the big screen, but story-wise, if a lackluster story is gonna make you bummed out, you bought your ticket, then don't buy get a matinee show.
Yeah, and not one of the most memorable Cruise performances. But I mean, Butella, I keep having to come back to her. She saved the movie for me in a lot of ways, and also Russell Crowe was cool too. So,
there you go, guys. That's going to do it for our review of 2017's The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime Fuego.
Make sure you click the link down in the description box while you comment. Let us know if you're going to see this. Let us know if you're excited. Let us know if we swayed you one way or the other. And while you're down there, click that link in the description box to our TeePublic site where you can get access to some cool swag with our horror show logo, our Coexist design, or even a shirt featuring our very own mascot, Horrific Harry. So if you do that, you will be supporting the channel, and we thank you very much. But
appreciate it.
Until next time, remember, stay scared.